To all my student athlete parents out there, think about this scenario. Your kid calls you from campus. The school's putting them on revenue sharing. 2 days later, a local business offers them $500 for an appearance. 2 checks, 2 completely different sets of rules, and nobody handed your family a manual. So that's what I'm covering today. What each check actually is, who's paying for it, and what you should ask before anyone signs anything. I'm Will Dudley, multimedia pro, ESPN alum, and creator of Winbook. Class is in session on this episode of Sport of Content. So let's talk about that first payment. Check 1 comes from the school itself. In July of 2025, the House settlement took effect, and for the first time under this settlement framework, universities could pay athletes directly. Not a scholarship, not a stipend, a payment. Here's where that money comes from. Schools can share up to 22% of what the average Power 5 program brings in from 3 different places: media rights, ticket sales, and sponsorships. That builds a pool. In year 1, the ceiling landed around $20.5 million per school, and it gets recalculated every few years. Now, 3 things about that pool your family must understand. It's a choice. When the deadline hit, 310 athletic departments opted in. 54 passed. All of the Power Conference schools in the reporting I reviewed opted in. But outside of those, a lot of programs ran the math and said no. The school decides to split. Nothing in the settlement tells a university how to divide that money between sports or between the players. That call gets made inside the building. And it's a contract with that specific school, not with the NCAA, not with college sports, with that university. Hold on to that. I'm coming back to it. Now, the second payment. Check 2 comes from everybody else. That's commercial NIL, a brand, a local restaurant, a collective, a fan platform, somebody who isn't your school paying to use your name, image, and likeness. First thing to know, this didn't go away. Plenty of families assumed that once schools started cutting checks, the outside money dried up. It did not. An athlete can collect from both at the same time. But this one comes with homework, and this is where families get tripped up. Any third-party deal worth $600 or more has to be reported. 600 exactly counts. It's not more than. And it stacks. 4 $200 posts for the same company clear that line together. From signing, you've got 5 business days. It goes into a system called NIL Go, run by the College Sports Commission, and the deal gets looked at with 2 questions in mind. Is there a real business purpose here? And is the pay in a reasonable range for the work being done? Now here's the part I need every parent to hear. Failure to report isn't a paperwork slip you can just shrug off. It creates real compliance and eligibility risk. What that turns into depends on the situation, but I didn't know I had to is not the position you want your athlete in. Because here's how it happens. An athlete does everything right, real company, real work, real money, and never files because nobody told them the deal came with the form. The work was clean, the paperwork wasn't, and now there's a problem that was completely avoidable. So treat the reporting like part of the deal, not an afterthought. Same day you sign, you file. So put the 2 payments side by side because they behave differently. The school check is usually the bigger one, and it's steadier. It's also tied to your enrollment, your roster spot, and that one program. The brand check often starts smaller, but it follows your name, not your jersey, which brings me back to what I told you to hold on to. That school agreement is a contract with a single university. So before anybody signs, ask what happens if your athlete transfers. These agreements spell out what the school owes and stops owing if a player enters the portal. Some carry repayment terms. Read that section, then read it again with an attorney. Here's the rest of what I'd want answered before commitment. How much and over what period? Guaranteed or tied to playing time and roster status? What happens if there's an injury? This is sports. Injuries happen, right? Who at the school handles NIL reporting? And how do we reach that person directly? And the one families often forget. What has this program actually paid athletes in this sport? Not the promise, the history. We'll take care of you is not a number. Get that number. 2 checks, 2 systems. One family trying to make a good decision with real money on the table. So here's what I'm going to leave you with. The school check depends on a program, a sport, and a budget nobody in your house controls. The brand check depends on whether a company looks at your athlete and sees somebody worth investing in. You can't really do much about the first one. That's in the hands of the school. But you have real influence over the second. Content is a sport, and that second check is the one where your athlete determines their own playing time. Next week, I'm going to take this even further. What actually happened to NIL once schools started paying directly? Who that outside money really favors now, and why it got a lot more competitive than people expected. Today was the map. Next week is the terrain. For more NIL-related discussion, subscribe to Sportive Content. This is the first of several on NIL. Hit like so it reaches the next parent trying to sort this out. And drop your questions in the comments. I actually do read them. And if you want a head start on that second check, I broke down how to build a brand before you chase a deal. It's right here on your screen. I'm Will Dudley. This is Sportive Content. Remember, trust the process and let's get the dub.